Now, why would you say that?
Now, why would you say that?
Now, why would you say that?
Now, why would you say that? Now, why would you say that? Now, why would you say that?
Now, why would you say that?
Y'all, welcome to the season finale. Now, why would you say that? As always, it's your boy, that guy.
I'm Chase.
In case you didn't know, it is National Sex Health Day or Health Sex Day or whatever it is.
Leave it to you to mess it up.
And we have our guest host, the sexologist. Never knew that was a thing. Miss Kristen right over here.
Hello. Thanks
Welcome
for
to the
having me.
show.
Thank you.
We have a lot of sex questions. All four of us.
I love answering sex questions off the cuff.
Yay!
Like, that's one of my favorite things to do. Put me on the spot.
Yes.
How did you get into this?
Oh, that's one of people's favorite questions. I was actually a weight loss coach for a long time. And when you're helping people with weight loss in their bodies, you do also talk a lot about how much their sex life has changed or it's non-existent because they're not feeling themselves anymore. They don't want to get naked in front of their partners. They don't want to have the lights on. They don't even want to engage. So as we're helping people gain their confidence back through that program, like, you start seeing the differences in their sex lives. And that shit was way more fun to talk about than the diet. So, and I just didn't have a problem talking about anything with people's sex lives. So I, after a while, ended up going back to school. I got a certificate, and I'm a certified sex coach and clinical sexologist.
That's tight.
I used to make jokes like I'm a sexologist, not knowing it was a real fucking thing. It is
Yes,
a real
it is.
thing. They do exist. Like, that is dope as hell.
So, how much schooling did that take and everything?
Well, I do have a degree in psychology, so I went to Mizzou. Took me about 4.5 years for that. Had the extended program there. But my sexology program took me about 2 years, online mostly. I had one in-person thing to go to in LA. Had a hell of a fun time with that class. Like, we went to a dungeon. We went to a sex toy store. We had like panels of people coming in and talking to us, and I got to hang out with my friend who was a retired porn star that weekend, and we had a hell of a lot of fun.
Woo!
Yeah.
Oh,
This is my life.
Okay, that sounds fun as hell. Not a
So it's
retired
just nasty.
porn
So it starts with psychology. So
Yeah,
like the
for me
mind.
it did, yeah. Totally.
I used
Your
to major
brain
in
is your
psychology,
biggest sex
so-
organ.
Yeah.
For real.
So
Exactly.
it's a lot to do with stimulation, I'm assuming.
Yeah, communication, checking in with yourself and figuring out what you like and what you want. How do you tell your partners what you like and what you want? How do you attract and find those people that are into what you're into?
Ooh,
all
that's
that
a
stuff.
good one.
Yeah.
How do you attract people?
So, total authenticity and honesty. Like, people tend to put on that facade to try to be like, this is how I need to present in order to get people to like me, but you can't keep that up for very long. So just be yourself, because wouldn't you rather just like fly your freak flag high and then let someone else see that and be like, yes, that's what I'm down for too.
Exactly.
Like, if you're into kinks, or if you're totally vanilla, if you're trying to get out and date somebody that is the opposite, like, it's not going to work in the long run. So why waste either your time? So I do help people practice that, putting themselves out there as who they really are.
Okay, that's really cool.
Okay. So I have a question.
Per usual.
I probably have an answer.
What are some of the most important things you've learned in your studies of sexology? Just don't get into it.
There are a lot of times that people think that if they're into a certain thing, that they're dirty, they're wrong, that they're broken, there's something wrong with them. And that's just messaging from society. Like, there's really nothing out there that any one of you, either in the room or watching or listening, could think of that someone hasn't already done or thought of. Like, there's not really much as far as new frontiers when it comes to sex, except for, like, virtual, porn and all that
wild.
stuff. So, like, there's some frontiers there, certainly. But when it comes to, like, our bodies and things that we do with them, pretty much everything's been tried. And whatever it is you like, there's probably someone out there that likes it too. So I think, again, just being yourself, you will attract those people. And just be honest with yourself too. That's a big part. Like, being real with yourself about what you want, what you need, is sometimes the hardest part of the journey.
Definitely.
Is there such thing as too much sex?
So, okay, so we've all heard of sex addiction,
Yeah.
right? Sex addicts, porn addiction, all that. I, as a sexologist, don't really follow the addictive model. Now, addiction in itself can really be defined by you are not living your normal day-to-day life because you've got this thing that is now interfering. Very rarely, it can happen, but very rarely is someone jerking off so much that they're not going to work, or they're looking at porn so much that they would rather look at that than be with their partner. So, can sex interfere with your life? Yes. But it may just be that you are having more sex or jerking off more often or doing things that you haven't done in a while simply because you've found a great partner. You're feeling that attraction. You're feeling yourself differently for some reason. You finally tried something that you really connected with. Like maybe that's kink or something like that. And now you just want to do that more often because you found the freedom or you have found the thing that really clicks with you. So there may be a little bit of you do that more often, but you'll probably taper down. So I don't think for most people that there's such a thing as too much sex.
As long as you're safe.
Yeah, safe, absolutely.
Let's just be.
Yes.
How high?
And I always work within the confines of saying that you should be doing things that are sane, safe, and consensual.
Exactly.
Yeah.
SSC.
Yeah.
Why you say like this?
SSC.
Yeah. Yeah.
So today is World Sexual Day. What does that mean?
Well, it's World Sexual Health Day.
World not world, not to be confused with World Sexual Day. World Sexual Health Day.
Yes. The theme this year is Let's Talk Pleasure. Pleasure obviously manifests in a lot of different ways, but I think that one of the most important things to consider when it comes to pleasure is the freedom aspect. Again, working within the confines of sane, safe, and consensual for all parties involved, you should be allowed the freedom to have sex with who you want, have sex however often or however little you want. Maybe you're more of a demisexual or a sapiosexual or even asexual. Asexual people sometimes still have sex. You should also have the freedom to choose who you marry, if you have children, how many children you have. So I think thinking about those things are really, really important, that the freedom to exercise our lives, our pleasure, our choices are really paramount. And a lot of that shit's under attack for some people. So
So what would you tell somebody who is a demisexual, which is pretty much someone who is, like, for them to have sex, they have to be mentally involved with someone? What would you tell someone who is like that wants to actually, like, have more, I wouldn't say hookups, but just, like...
Definition in the caption. Some people don't know what it means.
They don't, because, like,
Yeah.
a lot of it, I had to look up all these terms when it came down to it, because I was like, there's so many flags now, like, I don't know what this means. And
Right.
so I was seeing people be like, oh, I resonate with asexual, I resonate with demisexual, so I was like, what is that? But when I read the demisexual one, I was like, okay, that one I can, I feel more connected to than anything, than out of all the other things. But so how would you tell somebody who is like that, like I said, if they wanted to be more involved sexually with people, like how can you, like, turn your brain off, what would you suggest about going that way, if that makes any sense?
yeah, it does. Well, I would probably, of course, ask some more questions to find out more about what's important about wanting to have just something more casual right now. Are there perhaps some things that you're wanting to explore sexually that maybe have just been fantasies up until now? and you're wanting to explore that without a commitment, that might be an aspect that a demisexual might want to do that. I think it would be important for them to just recognize that their hearts, their brains just do work a little bit differently. That's totally fine. That's totally normal. Making sure that they're not just wanting to do it because of societal pressures or things like that. That's truly their motivation. But it may be really difficult for that person to just let go of that. I've had a couple of clients who have definitely been on that side, and there's a balance between challenging yourself to get outside of your comfort zone or outside of your habits and doing it to the point of discomfort. You may get out there and try it a few times, be like, okay, I tried it and it really just isn't for me. So it's encouraging them to check in with themselves once they try that thing, to just be really honest and say, what purpose are you trying to serve by making this change? What does that change really look like? And how do you just make sure that as you're going down that path that you're doing what you want to do in a way that feels challenging yet not dishonest to yourself? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I get that.
Because sometimes we do need to try new things to get out of our comfort zone, but if we end up getting to a point where this actually hurts, it doesn't feel right to me, that's obviously where we gotta make some more shifts.
Right.
So, how would you counsel a client that is experiencing a low sex drive?
Good question, but it does depend. It partly depends upon the gender and where they're at in their relationship. It can often be different causes for men versus women.
What's the most common one?
So mismatched libido is something that clients often come in, especially in a couple situation, meaning obviously one partner wants it more than the other. When it's a man that's wanting it less, it's usually stress. It can be testosterone related, but stress is the number one factor that will affect a man's libido. When it's the woman, it can be what we call the mental load. So that's different than stress. The mental load is, especially in heterosexual relationships, all the stuff that it takes to make the household run. And oftentimes in heterosexual cisgendered relationships, she takes on way more of the responsibility of running the household than he does. And when she's constantly having to multitask and think about all the things, it can be really hard for her to take herself out of that mindset and get into a more intimate mindset. Again, with him, typically it's that he's thinking about work, he's thinking about money, finances, it's a little bit more exterior stuff outside of the household. Hers is more interior stuff in the household. So when there's a balancing of duties in the household, her libido will rise. When he finds ways to work through his stress, and I do recommend always go look for medical causes. Do always check in with your doctor. Make sure you don't have something like a blockage going on, blood vessel wise. Circulation is the biggest thing that relates to erection strength, because that could also be a contributing factor that maybe his erection isn't quite as good as it used to be, and now he doesn't want to perform and underperform in his mind. So yeah, there's generally those causes for mismatched libido.
So is that the reason why when people get married or move in with each other, they have less sex because they're...
Yeah. Yes. Honestly, Western romanticism, and this is not an original thought for me. Esther Perel. Have any of you heard of Esther Perel before? She wrote this book called Mating in Captivity, and that's something that she talks about is Western romanticism sells us this idea that we are supposed to just get closer and closer and closer until we are one. But that's actually what really kills desire. There's a study that shows that typically in heterosexual relationships, the woman is the first to get bored with their sex lives. It's about 1 year in. About 1 year in for most couples that are long-term is about when you're moving in, right? So getting closer and closer and closer, there's no space. There's no room for any mystery. There's no room for discovery. There's little room for nuance, meaning variety. You just like get into your habits, you get close, you get into your patterns, and you don't break out of them very often. That's why things like going on vacations, taking weekly dates, kissing and cuddling, saying I love you for no reason. Like, there are action steps that couples that live together really need to make sure they're focusing on to keep a little bit of space, to keep newness and a freshness to it, but also continue doing the things that they did early on in their relationship.
Which I feel like that does happen in relationships in general. Like, people get too comfortable with each other that they just are okay with being complacent and feeling like, well, we don't have to, I already know so much about you. Like, I feel like you should learn something new about your partner each day. Like, honestly, like,
Yep.
I think that is what helps keep things interesting when you just keep learning about somebody.
Yes.
And then you know, you start realizing just how much, like, oh, we do have this in common. Or even if we don't agree on certain things, you know, we still can find, like, a way to mesh with both of them. So
Totally.
I think that's very, very helpful.
And accurate. She knows. She knows.
Yes.
I want to ask about a very common one, and we've talked about this before, but why is the woman considered a hoe if promiscuous, but a man is not?
I have very strong opinions about that, and it just really comes down to patriarchy. It really just comes down to, like, what, specifically, I think, what churches and religion have imparted upon our society. Like, even if we didn't go to church, like, our society is so steeped in, like, that Puritan culture. A basis of that is just, like, you're not worth something unless you're pure. And how do you define purity unless it's through the lens of religiosity? Like, I think that it's, obviously, I think it's absolute bullshit. Like, your body count doesn't define you. And your body count doesn't make you a great or a bad lover. Like, having a low number doesn't mean you're bad. Having a high number doesn't mean you're great. Like,
Just means you're more experienced, right?
not necessarily, because maybe you only slept with 50 people once. But if I slept with the same person 100 times, I have more experience.
Yeah.
Touche.
So,
Because,
Whoa.
like she said, it doesn't
play on
necessarily
words.
mean...
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because just because, like she said, like, just because you had sex with multiple people doesn't mean that it was good. Like, I saw this meme where it was like, men be like, oh yeah, I got so many girls under my belt, but you've only made, out of the 30 girls that you slept with, you've only made one of them come.
right?
Like, our orgasm, like, you know?
Right.
So
For real.
like,
All of
I mean, hey, it's just one of those things.
Are
like,
you sure?
Right, like...
Well, they all say, yeah, they did.
Okay, well, yeah, just because they came back doesn't mean that they came. So,
Came back.
Yep.
I'm trying to tell you, just because...
Nah,
You-
who knows?
you-
Who really knows?
But I'm
You
being
know,
honest.
but it's like,
I'm being honest, because with girls, some girls already know, like, it takes me a minute to actually get to that point, or their mental is just so into it that they can't actually, like, do it with people, or whatever the case may be. Like, some girls can't have an orgasm through just strictly penetration.
Yep.
So if a man is just strictly, like, dicking you down and then is doing nothing else, he isn't stimulating any other parts of you, she's not going to orgasm.
100%.
So with that, it's like, dang, I just lost my train of thought that quick. But no, with that, it's just pretty much just because a girl keeps coming back. You could just be really good at sex, but she already knows, like, I'm not going to come off of this. But it still feels good, you know? And then that's plus this intimacy.
I feel like that's a difference between men and women too, because it's like women will enjoy sex and still, even if they don't come, they'll still enjoy it and stuff. 'Cause that's
Can. It's possible,
They
yes.
can, but I feel like the goal is for everybody to come, right? But then I feel like men, if we don't come, it's like, did I even do it? I don't even know.
Does it
You know
count?
what?
Does it count? Does it? Yeah.
That's for real. That's our perception oftentimes, right? That the man, especially in heterosexual sex, that the man coming is the pinnacle, right? That's the goal. She may come, may not come. She may come multiple times, but once he's come, that was like the intended outcome for most people, right?
Right.
Goes for everybody to come. I think.
Yeah.
I think to come together.
When you are a good lover, yes, absolutely. But
Exactly.
so like,
some people are selfish.
Selfish. Yeah.
yes, exactly. So like,
Or maybe just too excited.
the orgasm gap is real. Are you all familiar with the orgasm gap?
No, can you educate us on that?
So, the orgasm gap is smallest for gay men, and then lesbian women, and then bisexual women who are also with a woman. It is greatest for men and women in a heterosexual relationship. There is a wider gap. It's about 30%. Men will have 30% more orgasms than she will. There are definitely things you can do to reduce the gap. Again, the people in those other categories are doing those things. They're changing up positions. They're participating in more foreplay. They recognize that only 80% of female bodies, I'm sorry, only 20% of female bodies orgasm from penetration alone. So 80% of us can't come unless we have clitoral stimulation. They use more sex toys. They participate in more oral sex. So an orgasm is not the only indication of a good time. There's plenty of couples out there that have a gap in the amount of orgasms they're experiencing. But so long as they are checking in, again, finding out ways to integrate more and more pleasure in other ways, again, whether that's sometimes maybe you're just going to mutually masturbate. Sometimes maybe you're going to watch her enjoy her sex toy if she lets you watch. Maybe you're just going to like finger her for a couple of minutes and help her get off. Maybe she's just going to give you head. There's lots of ways to have pleasure and have intimacy that don't involve penetration.
Watching her is a fun thing. That is,
Right?
that is a
Right?
very fun thing to do.
And how much did you learn from watching her?
You learn a lot. You
Yes.
learn what they like, how they like themselves.
Yes.
So it's a great thing to sit there and watch. Yeah.
He knows.
I think just in general it does suck though that in a heterosexual relationship that we know for sure, like with women we can tell when the man has came, because clearly it's pretty obvious. But with women, I don't know if men just like aren't picking up on signals, or if women should just be more vocal about like, hey, this isn't doing it for me or whatever. I think women just get into a mindset like, well, I know that he came, so it's cool. And I don't feel like women should feel like that either. Like, you should be more open to being like, hey, I didn't come, so is there something else that we could try so that I can get off too, so that I can be happy too?
Yep.
Because once you get into a mentality of like being like, okay, well, as long as he came, it's fine. Like, no, it's not. Because you should be experiencing just as much sexual pleasure as your partner. And I think
Absolutely.
I wish men would be more like observant of like the clues of a girl. Don't get me wrong, girls can put on a good show. Girls can put on a performance. So.
Yeah, maybe the women are not being truthful. And what I was thinking was the math ain't mathin'. If 20% of women can only orgasm by penetration, and every woman that basically every guy is with is saying, no, yeah, I came, everyone. Okay, no one's ever saying that they didn't come, pretty much. So
Yeah.
somebody is not telling the truth around here.
The look on men's faces when they realize the math isn't mathing.
See, but like Shabai said, he liked to watch and he figured out. Me, on the other hand, I'm gonna explore your body and I'm gonna go based off your reactions. So, I mean, I feel like if you do that, you can't go wrong. You're gonna find that spot regardless.
That's
Right.
a great way to do it. You're watching for like the body language, the cues. You're listening to like probably her breathing. How is she moaning? Does she wince a little bit, or does she kind of like move into it?
Yeah.
Does she hold your head in that spot? Does she grab the sheets? There's tons of body signals that you can watch for.
In women,
Yeah.
but still, you got to make sure that you're actually being honest if any of that stuff is actually doing it for you. Because, like I said, so I'm just saying.
I would prefer you not fake it. Like,
you would prefer, but sometimes, like, I will say, like, for me, like, sometimes mental really do be, like, my mental be, like, not into it anymore. And once I realize that, okay, now I'm just trying to get this over with. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, let's just stop because I'm not feeling it anymore. Like, I've already got you. Like we both were, like, passionate and stuff, but, like, if my mental, or if I just realize this isn't going to make me come, I'll just be like, okay, so let's hurry this up. It's like, I won't say it to him, but I'll just, like, start doing stuff that I know is going to make him come quicker so that I can just get this off and get him off and get this over with. And that, like, I'm just being
That's
honest.
real.
it's harsh.
It's not harsh.
Okay, I love my partner and we have great sex, but yeah, there's also times where I'm like, okay, my back's starting to hurt,
Yep.
or like I'm getting a little hot and sweaty, and like I got places to go.
Thank
I need to
you.
get ready for my day because we tend to be morning people.
Yes.
So there are things that I do to help rush him along.
This is
So whether that's like
thing.
okay, here's the thing.
Trained
Yes.
assassin.
If y'all think that you come all completely on your own, you're mistaken. So things like, okay, here are some of my top tips to help make him come. Using Kegels, like you
Yep.
squeeze and hold for 2 when he's like
Yep.
penetrating, and then you release for 2. Squeeze for 2, release for 2. Also, your breathing, your moaning, like sort of make it sound like you're escalating, like you're getting close.
Yep.
Trained assassins, bro.
Yeah.
Like, this
Yeah.
is
Christ.
Eye contact can be great. Like my partner kissing really gets him, so I make sure that like a position that I know typically gets him, and that I can kiss him in the moment. That helps like push him over the edge too. But and maybe I've already had 2 or 3 orgasms, and I'm like, okay, like let's move on. Come on, it's your turn. Let's go.
Yep.
And yes, thank you for that title, trained assassin. I appreciate it. That's actually one of my.
trained assassins.
But, like, seriously, like, I don't know. Maybe, I think because women, we were just... Unfortunately, I hate to say it, like, I feel like society raises women in the direction the man has to get off.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like y'all said, do y'all count that? If you didn't get off, do you whatever?
Still
But-
counts.
Yeah, of course. But, I mean, it's still one of those things where, like, women have become so complacent with not being satisfied or with whatever. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of women who are getting off and whatever, but there are a lot of women who aren't, and they're not vocal about it. And like I said, when you're so used to just making sure that he gets off and that he receives, you start to just be like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's
you
what it
get
is.
complacent in your
Yeah.
own pleasure and just, yeah, like, and then you get into habits. And like I said, nuance is one of those things that's really, really important for keeping your sexual chemistry high. And that means having variety, whether that's doing different positions, doing it in different rooms in the house. Go have some hotel sex. Go have some vacation sex.
Yeah.
Do a what's called a will, want, won't list, which I give out to my clients, that has these, it's a huge list of both things to receive for pleasure and things to give for pleasure, because there can definitely be a difference in what you want to receive, what you want to give. Like, I love having my toes sucked. I'm never gonna fucking suck my partner's toes in a million years. Not happening. So there can be that nuance between what I want to give and what I want to receive. And maybe there's something on the list that it reminds me, like, oh yeah, I had that fantasy and I haven't ever actually tried that with this partner. Like, let's get that going. Or
Right.
maybe you find things that you've never ever tried, but you don't know how. You don't know what that will look like with this partner, or if they'd be okay with it. And then those are opportunities to like bring it up, see if it's something that y'all can try together. And how would you do it together?
That is interesting.
So do y'all really think that like every girl that y'all been with you've hit that big O for her?
Or that every
Some
O has been
orgasm,
authentic?
maybe not. And y'all, Y'all coming and us coming, like, it's a total different level. Y'all can, it's like a big ass bag of Doritos. Y'all can just keep coming and coming and coming. We can't, so y'all want that. So it's like,
You want to see the leg shaking, you want the
y'all
leg
looking for that every
screaming.
time. If y'all classify that as just y'all coming, then I'll probably I made more than half.
Shooting 50%.
I'm shooting 50 for the field.
What is a high
Pretty sure I made
percentage?
them all come. That's good. It's kind of hard to make it right.
That's how it
So
seems.
much that goes on into it. And if I've made your orgasm, I'm pretty sure I was with you. I don't really try to make ones that I'm just no.
You don't try to make them.
The ones that I'm not talking to, like if we're just fucking, just I gotta say it. I'm not trying to make you do that.
Why?
We make you come enough. I'm
She's
not
gonna
trying.
make you come.
That's fine. She's gonna come. I said I'm not gonna make her reach this orgasm. See, the orgasm state with y'all is just when y'all get to this. Y'all really mentally, we're in a relationship type shit. Some of y'all really do that. He made this. He's mine. I'm not about to give you that satisfaction. No.
He actually kind of has a good point. Like, is that?
Yes, because if you can't make us come, we're probably not going to get attached to you.
Yeah.
So if you also don't make us come on purpose, then yeah, I guess if you're wanting to keep a sexual partner,
If you do make them come too much, then they can fall in love. Which I had one thing on here that was can women be dickmatized? And then what is the women version? Well, I didn't have a good name for a woman, the patriarchy didn't give me the word. Like I don't know.
isn't pussy whip?
Yeah.
That's what
That's what it's
That's I guess
called.
what I always.
Damn. Okay, makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Pussy whip.
So
Dickmatized just sounds a little cooler than pussy whip.
it does. It got a ring to it. For real, it do. But I was gonna say though, just like you said, like I feel like you got to be emotionally involved, like to make them have an orgasm. But how should I say this? I feel like if you emotionally involved, y'all gonna come at the same time, like literally.
Maybe.
I mean, that's how I feel. But like, if we not, my girl, and like you said, we just fucking, I don't care.
I don't.
I don't care. I don't get my rocks off. I'm not
that damn
That's
selfish now,
selfish.
but
the hell's it selfish?
Well,
because I'm not about to let you go back and tell your friends I didn't fuck that. No, this is.
I mean, you gonna come. You gonna come, but did you have an orgasm?
well,
Depending on how much I like you.
look, I think we're defining come
Yes,
and
I was about to
orgasm as the
say-
same thing. To us,
Because
coming
I
and
thought
orgasming is
I
the same
thought it
thing.
was the same thing.
Is it?
Yeah. To us,
Okay, so
Is it?
there's difference of like there's squirting, there's coming, there's orgasming, there's creaming. There's a lot of things that can.
but the actual physiological, like I
said don't be the
am,
one to do it.
the actual physiological reaction of a woman's body, of the pelvic spasms of our pelvic floor, it times out at a certain rate. It's actually felt better through the anus than it is through the vagina. Our breathing increases, we sweat a little, our muscles like stiffen. There are physiological responses our bodies experience with orgasm.
Full body orgasm.
Well, I mean,
You can have a full body orgasm.
yes, so intensity of orgasm, yes, can absolutely vary. But when I'm talking about coming, orgasm they are one and the same.
Yeah. So when you keep saying that you're making her come, what are you talking about?
Orgasm. How am I gonna make you
No, he's
come?
saying that he
I'm
can make
pretty
them
sure
come,
that
but he
they
doesn't
are-
make them orgasm. So I'm a little confused. What are you doing?
Pretty sure that they're fucking different. Like it's.
I think so. We got the sexologist
The
here.
sexologist says I disagree.
Are you talking about like she's squirted or like?
I also
Well,
have
so,
something about
do you,
that.
Do you feel like they haven't come or they haven't orgasmed if they didn't squirt?
Let me tell you what. I was with someone before, and this was like the first time we hooked up, and she was, a squirt or whatever, and she like messed up everything, right? Okay. Yeah, right. And then was like, oh, that's the first time that's happened. I was like, yeah, right. She was like, yeah, right. she was like, yeah. She was like, I was like, yeah, I don't believe that. She was like, yeah, and she was the type of person though that like, that would happen. No, I didn't have to do anything. Some partners, you don't even got to do too much, and it'll be like, yo, it's like, yo, am I the best ever? Like,
so that's legitimate. There are some women who either their bodies just simply enable them to do it better. They're more in touch with their orgasm, but some women, once they have done it, they're more easily able to tap into that same sensation or guide and direct their partners to do it. But every woman can potentially squirt, but not every woman will squirt. I've only done it twice in my life. First time was complete shocker. Absolutely, was like, what the hell just happened? The second time, he just happened to be really, really good at it. But that doesn't mean that that's like what I'm now shooting for. If and when it happens again, I'll be pleasantly surprised. But like, yeah.
It is like, I mean, like the first initial time, you're like, what the fuck was that? Like, did I just pee? Like, literally, a girl's headspace is just the same as a dude's at first. You're like, oh my God, did I just fucking pee in his bed? Like,
it's not pee. Squirting is not pee.
That was the second question, the age-old question.
I knew that, but I'm like,
Put it up. Contain any sort of pee.
The same amount of urea is in squirting materials, female ejaculate, as there is in semen. So if you want me to swallow your cum, just know I'm getting a little urea in that too. Exactly. So it's because it's just coming from the same hole.
Right.
But yes, it's not pee. Now that's not to say that there aren't some times that an orgasm can trigger urination. Like,
it sounds like you said it's not pee, but it's not pee.
I mean, the same goes for male cum.
It shouldn't, like, pee smells.
Yes.
We all know what pee smells like.
It's not pee.
So if you can smell like actual like piss, like, then yes, she peed.
Get up.
And even then, like, at the end of the day, like, as long as you,
it's a fine line
or whatever, like,
yes,
don't shame nobody for what their body just did. Like, come on, like,
no, we don't. But if you are aware of this, like, you gotta let us know, so because there is sheets, you get the plastic sheets, like, underneath, over, or underneath your fitted sheet.
I just want my bed
underneath your fitted sheet.
Okay, if you're a grown up, you should have a mattress protector anyway to protect your mattress because of your sweat and your skin cells sloughing off. Like, if you're a grown man and you don't have a mattress protector, not a plastic cover, but a nice ass mattress protector,
$100.
go get one.
Mattress protector though
also
gets wet.
Yes, but you can still wash it. But
yeah,
also,
you can wash it.
I have a Liberator blanket, which is a nice, soft, like velvety blanket, and it's waterproof, and you can just lay that over the top.
Where can we purchase?
Stay ready. You ain't gotta get ready.
Where can we purchase this?
Liberator.com, or just go to Amazon. Yeah, it's just the Liberator throw blanket. Yeah.
They have their own website.
Yeah, they have their own website. Like, they have all sorts of stuff. They have like the pillows. Like on Meet the Fuckers, they have the wedge pillows for the old people, because
the wedge pillow.
Yeah, I love my wedge.
The wedge pillows are good, right?
I love it. Use it this morning.
Okay.
Yep.
Vote of confidence for the wedge pillow.
Had the magic one. Had the Uber Lube.
Amazon. Okay.
People gonna say this instantly, go to Amazon. What you order these?
Right.
things?
They said shit.
Rewind to what she said again. Okay, I got it.
But no, like, yeah, as adults, y'all should just be, just like I said, don't shame nobody for what's going on. Like, just be open and honest about everything. And I mean, if at the end of the day, like, I feel like with women, there's probably a more chance of pee coming out than with like men. But at the end of the day, like I said, you can smell piss. You know what piss smells like, and if it don't smell, then it wasn't.
I don't think any guys really too mad about it anyway. It's like nobody's like.
Although, again, I will agree, if she knows that she's a squirter, it's okay to give him a heads up so that he's, prepared. Like,
Don't act like this is the first time you put a water slide in someone's fucking living room. You know? Like, other people sit here.
Exactly. Yeah, that's just rude.
If you know that you can do it, yes, please.
Put a towel down. Say, like, we're probably going to need a towel down at this point.
But if you don't, then, everyone's getting surprised today.
It's cute. I'm sorry. You sorry, huh?
And so.
And then make him sleep on that.
I'm gonna get this thing out.
Your wet spot. My nuts get air dry. Play with your shit.
And are you also a relationship coach as well?
Yes, I definitely help people with a lot of aspects of their relationship. People aren't just coming in talking about their sex lives most of the time. Mm-hmm.
And so I know that you're doing something. I seen you post something about like pickup lines or something. And do pickup lines work? And I think we've talked about like hollering and all type of different stuff. Can you tell me about what you're doing in that aspect, and what do you think about pickup lines?
Well, what you may have seen is that I've actually got a workshop coming up that's called Ask Them Out, How to Approach Them for a Date. Because a lot of what I'm hearing lately is from women, it's a lot of his pickup lines suck. Like, I feel like he's just running game on me. Mm-hmm. I'm looking for a serious relationship, and nobody's actually asking me out for a date to get to know me. They all want to go hang out, which is very chill, mm-hmm. right? Like, and I get we're just coming off the pandemic, and maybe some of us were not going out on dates. We were going over to people's houses or meeting up in spaces that were a little bit more intimate. But like, I feel like the dating culture here in Kansas City especially has really moved away from, hey, I want to ask you on a date. I would like to take you out this weekend for dinner. Are you interested? Like, the person asking isn't coming up with a plan. It's way too casual. It's not structured. And then we're not actually doing activities where we can take the time to get to know each other. So, yeah, I've got a workshop coming up on September 18th that's in person here in KC.
Where?
It's going to be at Yoga Patch, which is down in Waldo. It's where my office is. It's going to be a 3-hour workshop, and I'm bringing in an improv coach.
Shout out to who was the coach?
Anna Kaler.
Anna Kaler. She did yoga with us for this Yiddy yoga thing at Fabletics a couple like last month or something. Shout out to her.
Shout out to Anna. Yeah.
It really works.
Does what? Yoga?
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. It does. It gets you in touch with your body and with your breathing, and so much of that is important for what I think. Okay, here's my phrase that I use. Every day you should exercise, meditate, masturbate.
Period.
So exercise, yoga is a great thing.
So 365 orgasms is how many I should have? At minimum, I should be having 365 orgasms a year. Minimally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I say you should do at least one of those every single day, but if you can do all 3, it's even better. All 3 of those things produce those feel-good hormones like endorphins and dopamine and norepinephrine, oxytocin, serotonin. All that shit flushes out cortisol. So you've got to get your body into a space where all those feel-good hormones are flowing through your system. It helps your mindset. It helps your stress level. It helps you feel more connected to yourself and then more open to be connection with other people. Like, because if you're stressed, you're not feeling like connecting with a lot of other people. You're trying to figure out how to not be stressed, right? Or how to fix the problem that's going on in your life. If you're not feeling healthy, you may be worrying about like, oh gosh, what's my body doing? Or my back hurts, or I just don't have much energy. So when we're connecting with our body through things like exercise and meditation and masturbation, you're setting your body up to have the sort of ideal environment to live a better life.
I guess I'll start doing the third one. Exercising.
I was like,
I thought it was masturbation.
Guess I'll start exercising. It had to be the third one.
So I was like, okay.
What's your opinion on speed dating?
On speed dating, I've never been. I've I've never heard anyone say they had a great experience. So, have you been?
I've hosted one,
Okay.
and we have one coming up on the 24th of September.
Okay.
So,
Do you know if have you had people come back and say like, "Oh my gosh, I made like the best connection, and now we're dating"? Or
I don't know because we didn't kind of revisit that, but I had a good experience to where I didn't. They friends now. They really good friends now, but I feel like you go to speed dating for people. When you think speed dating, people go for the wrong reasons. They think they sort of find the one.
Yeah.
When if you just go and just be open, I think anything is possible.
Yeah. I agree with that mindset that, because I feel that way all the time, that just be open and be in the moment because anything can happen. You can meet anyone that might either, bring you a new perspective, help you in your business, help you in your love life, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I would say probably some of the speed dating events that a lot of people out there I've talked to have done have maybe not tried to help those people come in with an intention. Like, if you can get people thinking beforehand about, use this time to really try to get to know somebody. Like, don't small talk. Don't ask shallow questions. And maybe even give them some examples of icebreaker questions. Because, again, maybe sometimes the wrong people are getting attracted to those things. They're either there for the free food or the free booze.
Yeah.
Or they just, want to, like, bag a hot chick maybe at the end.
That's kind of what we do. We kind of turn it into like a game night, sort of. And we do icebreaker questions and just different stuff like that, just to make everybody feel comfortable.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people. I feel like if you go on a speed date and you maybe not be comfortable with approaching somebody.
I would definitely say, because I've wanted to try speed dating, but when I wanted to try it, we were still in the midst of COVID. Don't get me wrong, COVID's still out there.
Yeah.
But, it's not nearly as, bad as it used to be. So, I feel like in today's dating world, speed dating would probably be a better option at this point than actually going on dates with men. And I'm just being honest. So because think about it, speed dating is 15 to 20 minutes that you spend with one person, and usually within that time you can tell if you are connecting somewhat. So if there's nothing, it's just awkwardness, and you don't have to be there for a whole hour and 30 minutes trying to make things work or come up with the excuse of why you have to leave, or because
there's less pressure.
Exactly, there's less pressure, and then people are weird, people are crazy.
I feel like I can be my best self for 15 minutes easily. 15 minutes. Yeah, I'm the best.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And scene.
What about the 16th minute? Is that person I don't know.
I get it, but I'm also saying especially how crazy the world is, and these girls are going on dates and things are happening. And not in the best way. So I think that's more it's a safer
environment, and you should be able to use your instincts and intuition to feel it out. Feel it out in a situation where you're not stuck at some place at dinner or whatever. Now you gotta run out or something weird. Makes sense.
So I want y'all.
won't even now. I've never been like this, especially ever since I've had my car. But I don't want anyone picking me up at my house. I don't want anyone.
Especially not at first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't. And another thing, with the dating culture and this chill shit, it's so fucking annoying. I don't want to chill with you. I don't want to chill at your house. I don't want you to chill at mine. I don't want to do any of these things. And like she says, in Kansas City, because that's currently where we reside. It really is a lot of dudes who will just oh, so, I'm trying to see you. Okay, so what are you trying to do? You can come over. It's going to be a no for me. I probably won't, honestly, at this point, I probably won't even respond. And I know that sounds harsh, but it's literally if that's how you're trying to approach me, I already feel like I know where your mindset is going.
Yep.
Like
I can't smoke a blunt at some places that I can't at my house.
but
Now that you can smoke blunt
before
At the park, there's many other,
Yeah, eat an edible.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do something else. Like there's plenty of things that you can do, or even if you wanted to be like, hey, let's smoke, and then if the girl's even down with that, hey, let's smoke, and then we can go out. But the fact that you just want to be solely at someone's house is off tops giving me booty call vibes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kristen, they said that Kansas City is like the top 5. I don't know. I don't know if I'm making this up.
I think we're one.
No, I'm not giving a
Second. I think it's Wichita's one. I think Wichita's one, and then we're 2.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where is this? Is this out of everywhere?
Out of the United States, Kansas City
geez.
is one of the worst places to date.
It is.
And it might be
I don't
true.
believe it.
It might be true. So I was gonna ask your opinion. When I do these speed dating events, why do you think more women show up than men? The ratio is just way off.
More women always show up to the fun things that are new and then when you see that there's more women there, then the guys come. There's always more women, and then when the guys figure it out, that's when there's more guys there.
Yeah, I think you hit
Let
the
me
nail
see that on Instagram. Let everybody start seeing it on Instagram or whatever, and there's like, oh, there's a lot of women there.
And that's not just this market. I do follow some people online that do speed dating events, or just dating coaches who have tried some events in other cities. And I've seen multiple videos, especially over the last year, as people are trying to get back out and reconnect with other humans. It's either no men have shown up, or it's very heavily leaning women, very few male participants. So like, you're not alone in that. And I think it really is because I think do recognize maybe that we want to put ourselves out there, but we do want to do it safely.
Yep.
And maybe it's also because men do fear rejection. I mean, we do fear rejection too, but rejection is a big fear for a lot of guys. Or hearing no often doesn't feel very good. And in a speed dating event, you're likely going to hear more no's than you do yeses, right? You're going to have more misses than you do hits. And that's how it should be. There's just a small group of people out there who love who you could be in their life. Like, you're not meant to connect with everybody out there. Right. So you are naturally going to hear more no's or have more misses than you do connections. But that's also a public setting to experience those misses and not connections. So I think perhaps there's just more fear into it of like just the idea of hearing no more than they would. You can ignore a no online a little bit easier. You can ignore someone not replying to you online easier.
Can they? Because, like, I don't understand that. I will say I don't understand the willingness to keep trying when it's...
Like they got shot down and they keep on shooting a shot?
Yes, between getting shot down, because I've actually, like, this one man.
Let's hear it. Okay.
One man, I have told several times, it's never going to happen. Stop. Leave me alone. And he keeps finding me on socials and keeps trying to DM me, and I'm like, if you don't leave me the fuck alone,
Stephanie, what's his name?
Just like leave me alone.
Stop it.
Here's the thing, though.
We really do need to step in. Tell this fella to leave you alone. That is getting a little bit more onto the stalker side.
Stalkerish, but then sometimes they'll be like, oh, this guy that I said no to for this whole time, then I was finally like, fuck it, let's go on a date, and then it's...
He ain't it.
He ain't it because he's not respecting her no. And if he doesn't come from a place of respect, he's never going to get her respect.
Respecting the no, very important.
Exactly, like, no, okay, yeah, it would never
No.
happen with that one. But just in general...
Have you ever tried... Okay, this is again that, like... Have you ever tried to put your mean girl hat on and just read him for filth?
I struggle with being mean, and I only struggle with being mean just for the simple fact for my safety at this point. Because honestly, some men really cannot deal well with rejection. Like, we've all seen the videos on the internet where literally a woman could just have said, no, thank you, whatever, and dudes get so mad to the point where they're like, actually, like, one dude in Atlanta literally went to his car and grabbed his gun. And, like, he didn't shoot her, but he, like, threatened to shoot her. And she said, because I don't want to talk to you. Like, I don't want to give you my number. And that's, unfortunately, like, the reality for women. Like, you can't turn down a man in a mean-spirited way without...
Fear.
Oh, yeah, like, without some type of fear. Like, shoot, I think even a dude bit one girl's face. I kid
Yes,
you
I
not.
saw that.
Like,
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
bit her face because, she rejected him.
Yeah.
And that's just crazy. Like, it's a no. Like, and then, but you reacting like that. What was
Well,
that
then-
supposed to make me think? Oh, yeah, this was the one.
He went and got his gun. Now that changes it. Like,
Okay, yeah, now it's a yes.
He
No,
won
like-
6.
No, but like this guy in particular, if he can't accept your no from the start, he's never going to accept your no. So even if you gave this guy a chance, what boundaries is he then going to overstep? Like,
Exactly.
my dude, if you're watching this because you're stalking her, get bent. It's not happening. You need to go to therapy.
My God.
Thank you.
So what
You
if
heard it
you
here
approach it
first.
like this? You said no, and he's like, all right, well, maybe he wants to take you out. Y'all just be friends. You get to know him. Maybe you might like him more. What you gonna say
Okay,
to
let's
that?
just be honest. 9 times out of 10, a man that approaches me and you first came to me on some trying to get my number because, you know, you thought I was cute, whatever. The second response, usually once I'm like, no, I'm good, I'm okay, is I can't be your friend. You just told me that you weren't trying to be my friend. So now I don't believe, like, I think we had touched on this a little bit before. Now I don't believe you to actually, like, you don't want to be my friend. I'm actually allowed. Like, now this was in high school. This dude was trying to talk to me, and he was like, I'm just trying to be your friend, Stephanie. So I said, okay, fine. Not even 2 weeks later. So, I'm trying to take this further. It's going to be a no for me. Like,
But you can't do that based off of what happened before. You should give everybody an equal chance, and that's why relationships, friendships don't work. Just because of that, you go based off what happened in the past, and then it hinders you in the future.
Have you ever actually had a woman that you wanted to holler at or, you know, have sex with that then became a legit friend?
Yeah,
and y'all never did anything.
yeah.
Did it take time between when you, like, did you actually express, like, hey, I'd like to take you out for a date? And she said no.
Yeah.
And then, like, but was there, you also obviously respected the no on the date, but, like, how did you then pursue a friendship?
I mean, I just thought, all right, she attractive, but she not attracted to me, and then that was kind of that. And I treated her like a regular friend. Like,
But, like, was it, well, I guess it's maybe a difference between if you know this person online, because it doesn't sound like you've ever met this guy in person,
I
right?
have.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Which
So, like-
makes it worse.
But, like, you probably came from more of a place of respect towards that person than what she's getting from this guy, for sure. Like, this guy in particular, he's never going to be able to be her friend. I don't think
all.
that it's impossible for, like, there's definitely been guys out there that I've been like, yes, hell yes. Like, and I've put it out there. They said, no, we have eventually become friends, but it's taken space. It's taken showing consistently that I'm not expecting anything from you or wanting to convert this to something different. And there's definitely been guys who've wanted to have sex with me that I've converted into friends. But again, it took time, it took space, and it took effort.
no, it definitely takes time.
And respect. It took this guy doesn't respect her. Legit. So
Yeah, like, it's just, and I've even said this before on the podcast. I have been followed. I have been stalked. Like, and I'm not, like, I think I'm beautiful, but I don't think I'm, like, okay, like, let's legit follow me somewhere. Like, I don't, and I'm saying this humbly, like, it's just a lot of weird people out there. It really is. And because with me being a woman, and I do listen to my intuition a lot, and then the times that I don't listen, I wish I would have. So at this point in my life, if you've already tried to pursue me as a suitor or someone you want to have sex with, and then, like I said, try to change it up real quick to be like, oh no, now I just want to be your friend. I just can't. I find it hard to believe. Don't get me wrong, there's probably men out there who are like that, but I do find it very hard to believe that now you want to be my friend.
Yeah. Well, and it's probably also different if they just asked you once and
Yeah.
then respected your no, and then versus like, come on,
Yeah.
go out with me, go. Oh, well, now let's just be friends. Like, that's
Yeah.
different than accepting the no and then trying to move forward in a different manner.
So I think.
So I think
chicks
you're both
might
right.
Feel how I feel about the situation. Like with me, it's more so. What's the worst she can say? The only thing she can say is no.
Right?
It's like I don't know why us as dudes take it to where no, like end of the world, bro. That's the worst she can say is no. Like you did it. She said no.
Yeah.
All right, well.
And you won't die if she says no.
I think a lot of
Right.
people don't pick up on hints either. Like, all right, if she say no and she
context
agrees to be
clues,
your friend, like, and let's say y'all kicking it and having a good time, y'all vibing. The dude might be like, all right, I want to take it to the next level. We really vibing and kicking it. You gotta wait on that
You gotta
hint.
let her.
Yeah,
in that.
because friendship can grow into something. She could have said no before and like, all right, I got to know him. I really like him now, and it can go from there. But like, I think people don't take hints. They don't. They
That's
just.
also-
They just first sign of, oh, she might like me. Let me jump in there.
Us as guys are not matched no more. As in, we just haven't mastered the art of communication anymore. It's very few times where people can hold. I didn't heard people talk. They just can't hold conversations. I'll talk to females like you can really hold a conversation because there's so much you can freaking talk about that'll get the girl's mind going.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to talk now. We don't talk. We don't communicate. That's where most relationships fail as well. Communication is just.
Well, one of the bases of good communication is asking good questions. You know, like, so in your example right there, you know, what if rather than just assuming that the vibe is shifted and that the door is open, what if you ask questions to find out if the door is open?
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
You find out a lot asking the right questions.
Yep.
You
Right.
find out
I
what she
think
like or
right.
why you wasn't a good candidate for her. If you ask, like, oh, she's into this, okay, that's why you don't like me like that. All right, that's cool. Maybe she don't like guys with kids.
But sometimes people
Yeah.
are scared to step out their comfort zone as well. Like they are so used to a type, and it's like them trying something different fears them. So they probably some part of them might like, but it's the rest of them like, okay, maybe I shouldn't because they're not used to it. I've gotten that a lot too.
Yeah. And that's one of the pieces of the work that I do that I really enjoy the most is challenging those types. Like, oh, I always go for these kinds of people. Okay, well, like, why? Let's talk about your pattern. Has your pattern served you in the past? Is going after these kinds of people getting you what you want in a partnership? Are there things that are missing? Do you need more? Do you need less of something? Patterns are good only if they serve you, right? And if you're going after the same type of person and consistently being disappointed, then it's time to ask yourself, okay, well, what do I need to do differently?
Yeah.
And shift a bit.
I got a really good question. Do you think you should go after who you attract or who you attract or who you are attracted to? And if it fails, whose fault is it?
That is a hell of a question.
I think it's important to ask yourself, are the people that I'm attracting really the kind of people that I want to connect with? Like if you want a long-term relationship, but all you're attracting is people who want to be casual or be friends with benefits, then I think it's important for you to simply ask yourself, like, what vibe am I putting out there? How am I talking to people? And if it's not producing the results that you wanted, then obviously something's amiss. Your messaging is off. Your dating app doesn't reflect. Like maybe you just don't specifically say, I want a long-term relationship, and I'm dating with intention to find that. In the absence of something specific on your dating profile, it just leaves you open to interpretation, right? I think it's important for people to have clarity on what it is that they're wanting. And I think when you've got that clarity on what you want in a partner, it's really hard to ignore those red flags. And it's really hard to ignore those things that don't match. Kids are a big thing. If you do want children and they don't, like, that's a big deal. And if you're constantly attracting people that don't want kids and you desperately want a child one day, like, again, what is it that you're doing to attract these people who aren't aligned with you? And how do you change that? So I think the first part really is finding the clarity on what you want and what you need. And once you have that clarity, it's going to be easier to see when people do or don't match up with those things.
I'll say even for myself, like, I'm a emotional person. Like, I'm into astrology, so I'll be like, I'm a Scorpio.
Yeah, right.
The sit-up she just did make me fun.
The sweet Libra partner of mine can't make a decision to save his life, so the Capricorn in me takes over our decision making. So,
I'm a Scorpio rising, so we're very passionate, and we're also like big ass crybabies, but we're not like. We hide our crybaby more than, like, you know how they
you'll go like cry in the bathroom and then like, okay,
right, like,
and then go out and face the world. Yeah,
exactly. So I'm a very emotional person. Like, I'm very in tune with my emotions, and sometimes I feel like I'm only attracting men who are very nonchalant or don't who aren't as
expressing
in tune with
it.
their emotions. Yeah, and so that's just like, what am I doing? Like,
so. What I often recommend to people that are finding that, and again, kind of fine-tuning what I was trying to answer earlier for you, is when you know what you want and you're really, really clear about that, and you're saying, like, I do want this thing, I want someone with emotional intelligence, you're not focusing on what you don't want or what you're not getting. Because anytime we're focusing on what we don't want, or we don't have, that is what we see, because our thoughts are focused on what we don't want. Right. When we are focusing on what we do want, again, that law of attraction pulls in those people. So if you do want someone with emotional intelligence, rather than someone who isn't in touch with their emotions, you are more likely to attract those people who can express themselves and emote in an adult manner.
Yes. Because it's just...
So
anger is not the only emotion, fellas.
So somebody who's not in touch with their emotions, are you more likely to leave them alone or try to help them get in touch with their emotions?
Me as a coach or me as a partner?
Both.
So yes, absolutely. Me as a coach, my job is to help people. And yes, it does tend to be more men these days, but definitely I've had people who are not men need help getting in touch with their emotions other than anger or sadness. Yes, helping people understand and define nuance of how they're actually feeling and what that looks like. It can be a little bit more on the therapy side of things. So sometimes I will refer people out to talk to somebody about that stuff. But then other times there's some really good books and resources out there that you can help people understand, like, oh, that's actually what I'm feeling right. That's jealousy. Oh, shit. You know, it's not just sadness that I'm feeling at this situation. I'm feeling jealous. But also as a partner, I have been with my guy since 2019. We dated in 2019 and then got back together in 2020. But like by that point, as I was dating, I set a rule for myself that I wasn't going to allow myself to get involved long term with someone that wasn't emotionally available. Now, I had a nice rotation going during my single life, and some guys just got, put into the friends with benefit zone. I had a good roster there for a while. Okay. But a big reason why, yes. Oh, God, I had a guy get so mad at me one time when I was like, I don't have time. He's like, what? I was like, my roster's full.
Damn.
What do you mean? I was like,
you need to do it.
Hit the switch.
Dude, I am.
She gets the switch.
I am 8 deep. I don't have room for 9. So.
Hey, okay.
Yeah, like.
And
If they couldn't connect with me on an emotional level within the first couple of interactions, I compartmentalized them because I was, yes, looking for my long-term love, but I also wasn't willing to just sit at home and be celibate. Like, I wanted to go out and have fun and explore my sexuality and have some threesomes, have some foursomes. Like, I had my fair share of fun. And I just knew that I needed someone that was emotionally intelligent. And then when I did finally find that one, I got dickmatized. And he's great in bed. So, like, yes, I got hooked. So once I found it, because I had clarity on what I wanted and what I needed. And once I found it, I was like, you're mine. Not mine, like possessiveness, but like, I was like, okay, we're doing this then.
Possessive.
Exactly.
So for people who aren't emotionally available, what are some tips? Because I know we're not paying you right now.
Go to therapy.
I don't want you to give away all the gold, but like, what's some tips for people to open up emotionally?
I think one of the biggest things these days is seriously like go to therapy. Like go talk to somebody. There's
a reason why you became like that.
Yeah.
And whatever it is, you know, it may just help to actually get talk about it with somebody who isn't biased, who isn't gonna because honestly I feel like a lot of people, and we've even said this before on the podcast, that a lot of people really do need therapy, and they do need to like heal through all their past traumas, because that also plays a part in why you act a certain way that you do when it's with your partner or whoever that you're messing around with, why you have such emotional detachments or
reactions
or
things like that. Like the whole like getting triggered thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like we are all a product of our context and conditioning. Right? I think we can look at children, especially say under 18, and go like, oh, you're that way because the way your mom and dad have raised you. But that stuff doesn't just magically turn off when you reach adulthood. Right. The way that we are conditioned can last for a long time. And if you were conditioned that if someone told you no, that meant they didn't love you, like you're going to carry that on into adulthood. You're going to avoid hearing no, especially from people that you love. That's going to make you avoid having really honest conversations where the possible answer could be no. But then that also prevents you from having honest conversations where the answer could be yes, and like, let's expand this. Like, honest conversations don't always lead to shutdowns or hurt feelings. Sometimes they lead to really beautiful conversations where it expands your relationship and
clarity.
Yeah, and it deepens your bond. But if you're too scared to have a real conversation with your partner, then like that's probably because you were conditioned that you either shouldn't have these conversations, you're not allowed to have these conversations, you're not allowed to have certain emotions, you know, especially like sadness and fear. I think that's an emotion a lot of men are conditioned, like you're just not supposed to show fear. Like, but fear is real, you know. But therapy, again, I don't think every therapist out there is great. I think it can take you time to, just like, you don't like every dentist you go to or every doctor you go to or every person you go to for a pedicure. You got to find the right person, right? Therapy is the exact same thing. Maybe you need to go visit 2 or 3 therapists to try out who you connect with. There's different styles of therapy out there. There's some that are specific to treating trauma. There's some that are simply specific to behavioral change. Like maybe you're a people pleaser. Maybe that was your context and conditioning, that you do everything you can to make everyone else happy, but you never do anything to make yourself happy. So therapy can be a big help in, as you say, being that sounding board. It's not their job to fix you. You're really fixing yourself. A therapist just kind of helps you unwind your thoughts. And where I kind of come in with the coaching side is more of, you don't have to be like fixed. You don't have to be perfect to work with a coach. It's just that therapy digs more into the past and figures out how and why you got to this point, whereas coaching is more about here's where you are and here's where you want to be, and let me help you set steps to get there. So they are sort of 2 sides of the same coin. They're not necessarily mutually exclusive. Like you can see a coach and a therapist at the same time, but therapy is really powerful. I think that there's still a lot of stigma associated with going to therapy. Like either you're crazy or you're broken. I actually think therapy is a great option when you're just feeling a little like lost. Like things just sort of feel muddy or murky, kind of sticky. If you're waiting to get into therapy when your marriage is on the verge of like divorce, or like you're just in this deep dark hole, like it's going to take a while to get out of that. I think the better time to go to therapy is when you're like, this shit just sucks. Like, I don't feel right. I don't feel like I'm moving forward. It's easier to pull yourself out of patterns that aren't serving you, or develop better habits, develop, again, new thoughts and get in touch with those emotions.
I'd like
we
to
haven't allowed out.
I'd like to have a therapist on here sometime too.
Yeah, definitely.
Like you're a therapist as well, just in a different form. But I know that we said we're going to keep it for an hour. It's a little over an hour. Please tell the people where we can find you and what you got going, anything coming up, and all that.
Well, like I said, I've got that workshop September 18th in person. It's $100. I've also got a couples intimacy retreat in Mexico next spring.
What?
Yeah.
Wait,
Right.
Too bad
I know we're.
I have one of those now.
So first off, we need to be in a relationship for this. Okay, that's number one.
So,
we need a relationship.
those of you out there that are in the long-term relationship, and this is for people who just want like let's go to the next level. Let's go even deeper. Like let's get even more connected. Rather, it's not for broken relationships or people on the verge of divorce. So we're gonna have I'm gonna have another sex coach with me, but that's next spring. You can find it on my website.
This at one of those resorts.
It's at an adult resort. It's not at a swingers resort. It's not at like hedonism or anything like that. This is just an adults only. So at least there's just not little. How easy is it going to be thinking about your sex life and being intimate if there's nuggets running around everywhere like screaming? Not happening. Like no, I want it to be. It's going to be like classy and sexy.
Okay.
Adults only there.
Awesome.
And couples only. Yes. But I also have a podcast called Keep Them Coming.
And, and that's streaming where?
Anywhere you listen to podcasts. I'm on Apple. I'm on Spotify, iHeartRadio, all the things. My website is my business is called Open the Doors Coaching. So it's openthedoorscoaching.com. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I'm actually up for the Pitch Kansas City's Best TikTok.
Oh, good.
Best
As well as Best Local
TikTok.
Personality.
Best local personality.
I don't know if I'm going to win that one because I'm up against like Gary Lezak and I think Hartzell and Dana Wright.
Give me a TikTok.
I guess I'm not gonna
Give us a TikTok.
any of them. But we're voting for you.
Thank you. Thank you. I would love to win Best TikTok. That's the one. Like, I've been working really hard on my TikTok. I have like almost 300,000 followers.
What?
And like 3 million likes.
We need on your TikTok. What the hell are we doing?
I want to be like you because I only got like 900 something. I haven't even hit 1,000 yet.
I don't even have a TikTok.
On the way.
Wild ride on
Go ahead,
TikTok.
start.
Like, it's weird. I've had a couple videos go viral. I had one of my TikToks get picked up by a British tabloid. Although they didn't spell my name right nor tag my account and give me credit. So, fuck you, son.
Exactly.
Fuck you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you have cards too?
I do. In my purse over there, I've got
Okay.
cards. Yeah, I'll leave some cards for you. Yeah.
Open the doors, Casey.
Open the Doors Coaching.com. Open the
Coaching.com.
Doors KC on Twitter, Instagram. I'm
Okay.
Coach Kristen on TikTok.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for stopping by.
having me.
You're our first official guest. I feel like we've had like guest co-hosts, but you're our first official guest.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was,
And honestly, the first official Caucasian. That's settled.
I'm as waspy as they come. Like, yeah.
She's invited to the cookout.
Yeah, she's invited.
now, if you do want to come to the speed dating event, we do couple things too
love
there.
that. Yeah.
So you should definitely come. I'll send you the link,
Yeah.
the flyer and everything.
I got some clients that would probably do well to attend.
Yeah.
Male clients. I'll try to
Yes.
bring in the guys for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's what we need.
Well, this was now. Why would you say that? And Stephanie's trying to say that she's leaving, but we're not really letting her. Like she's gonna have to come back for some more episodes and stuff. So
Yes, you will.
Because we
They told
record
me
on
I-
a Sunday. Like, what are you doing that you can't come on a Sunday?
fuck that class.
Okay.
Yeah, fuck that
You
school.
can't give
yeah.
us 2 hours?
Trying to
We'll-
my education.
You can't give us 2 hours.
Her education is important and paramount in order to better her lifestyle and children's life, but fuck all that.
Give us 2 hours. We're worth 2 hours.
We'll see. We'll figure it out.
We shall see.
We're not gonna.
We got interviews today, and I don't.
We're not gonna pressure her.
Today.
Yeah, our interviews
You're
today
gonna
at
do
4
it.
o'clock.
They talking about.
No. I saw the post on Facebook where they was like, we're looking for 2 women co-hosts.
one day.
I said, wow.
wasn't there.
y'all,
He had
I
already
just
booted you out.
texted you. Like,
He had already booted you out.
He said, all right, let's get up on this.
We didn't even shoot the last episode. He's already.
He had already was like,
Casting
I'm
call.
looking for 2 people.
For the record, you always have a spot on this couch when you come. So it's
Exactly.
Yeah, for real. She knows.
If I need to kick somebody out to get you back, we'll just do that.
Like them,
Facts.
they go off the flip. All right.
Okay, period.
What Steph says goes.
I'm wrecking this bitch, period.
So was now why would you say that podcast episode? I don't exactly recall, but we in here and we out of here.
Season for now. Love y'all. See you next season.
Yes.
Now, why would you say that?